Every day, people make decisions. Some are trivial, like what to have for breakfast. Others can have far-reaching impacts, influencing not just the individual, but potentially the whole world. While most mistakes can be mended or forgiven, some lead to dramatic consequences. This video explores 15 such incidents where seemingly insignificant or thoughtless actions led to astonishing outcomes, affirming the idea that even the smallest decisions can have profound repercussions. Number 1. The ship that sailed to disaster, the Titanic. The RMS Titanic, a name that resonates with profound historical significance. Built as the epitome of luxury and human engineering, its sinking on April 15, 1912, was a harrowing testament to the consequences of poor decision-making and overconfidence. The disaster was a culmination of a series of misjudgments. From its inception, Titanic was touted as unsinkable by its manufacturer, White Star Line. This arrogance translated into complacency that had far-reaching implications. For one, Titanic was equipped with lifeboats enough for only about half of its total passenger capacity, a gross oversight justified by the false unsinkability claim. When the Titanic set sail from Southampton, it was a clear display of grandeur. But beneath this display lurked multiple safety compromises. The ship was designed with a complex system of supposedly watertight compartments, but they were flawed. The bulkheads were not sealed at the top, meaning water could spill from one compartment to another if the water level rose high enough. This design error proved to be one of the key factors in Titanic's sinking. On that fateful night, despite receiving multiple ice warnings, the ship maintained a high speed. The belief in the ship's invincibility rendered these warnings as background noise. When the iceberg was finally sighted, it was too late for the enormous vessel to change course swiftly. Following the collision, the ship's crew sent out distress signals using the incorrect format, causing confusion and delays in the rescue efforts. Additionally, the evacuation was severely mismanaged, with lifeboats being launched under capacity due to a lack of orderly supervision. The sinking of the Titanic remains a cautionary tale of overconfidence and negligence. The combination of engineering oversights, disregard for safety protocols, and sheer arrogance set the stage for one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history. Although a century has passed, the story continues to underscore the grave implications of seemingly inconsequential decisions and actions. It is a sobering reminder that even the grandest creations of humankind can fall victim to human error. Number 2. Chernobyl nuclear disaster. The Chernobyl nuclear disaster of 1986 stands as a haunting symbol of the catastrophic potential of nuclear power when mismanaged. One of the worst nuclear accidents in history, it left an indelible mark on the people and the environment, resulting from a sequence of faulty decisions and reckless actions. The disaster occurred during a late-night safety test simulating a power outage. Despite this being a routine test, the Chernobyl reactor had design flaws, and combined with the plant operator's inadequate training, it set the stage for the disaster. The test protocol required a gradual reduction in reactor power, but a crucial miscalculation led to a far more substantial power reduction than intended. To bring the power levels back up, the operators removed too many control rods. As a result, the reactor's power levels surged dramatically, causing a steam explosion that led to the reactor's cap being blown off. Subsequent explosions and the resultant fire spewed a cloud of radioactive material over a vast area, causing immediate and long-term damage to both the environment and the populace. The Chernobyl disaster is a potent example of the severe consequences that can result from a series of misguided actions. The decision to carry out a risky procedure, the incompetence in handling the reactor, and the initial lack of transparency all contributed to turning a preventable incident into a major catastrophe. Number 3. The disastrous launch of New Coke. In the annals of marketing mishaps, few cases are as infamous as the disastrous launch of New Coke by the Coca-Cola Company in 1985. Intended to reinvigorate the brand and outdo its chief competitor, Pepsi, the launch of New Coke serves as a classic study in corporate misjudgment. The saga began in the mid-1980s, when Coca-Cola was losing market share to Pepsi. To combat this, the company decided to reformulate its century-old secret recipe. The executives, driven by market research that suggested a preference for a sweeter drink, introduced new Coke. The new formulation indeed tested well in controlled environments. However, the company grossly underestimated the emotional attachment consumers had with the original Coke. While the taste tests were numerically in new Coke's favor, they failed to account for the sense of betrayal consumers felt when their beloved Coke was altered. The backlash was swift and intense. Loyal consumers launched protests and petitions, some even hoarding cases of the original formula. The company's customer service lines were swamped with calls from disgruntled customers. Even pop culture figures and talk show hosts jumped on the bandwagon, publicly deriding new Coke. The new Coke debacle demonstrated the dramatic consequences of failing to understand consumer sentiment. Coca-Cola's decision, based on data but not factoring in emotional factors, led to a significant blunder. However, the quick reversion to the original formula saved the brand and, in an ironic twist, reaffirmed its place in the consumer's hearts, illustrating that sometimes the costliest mistakes can lead to unexpected victories. Number 4. The Leaning Tower of Pisa. An iconic Italian landmark, the Leaning Tower of Pisa is a classic example of how improper planning and oversight can lead to unforeseen and enduring consequences. It showcases the significance of careful planning, particularly in architectural design, and the repercussions of poor foundational work. Construction of the tower began in 1173, intended as a freestanding bell tower for the adjacent cathedral in Pisa, Italy. However, due to the unstable subsoil composed primarily of clay, fine sand, and shells, the structure began to sink on its south side after the completion of the second floor. Over the centuries, numerous efforts have been made to rectify the tower's lean, but the inherent issue with the subsoil always reasserted itself. It wasn't until the late 20th century when engineers were finally able to slow down the leaning process significantly. Still, the tower remains a remarkable illustration of a centuries-old architectural blunder. Today, the Leaning Tower of Pisa is one of Italy's top tourist attractions. Its imperfection, a result of human oversight and erroneous problem-solving, ironically turned it into a symbol of endurance and charm. Nevertheless, it is a potent reminder of the dramatic consequences of poor planning and the importance of sound foundational work in architecture. Number 5. The King Who Died Eating. King Adolf Frederick of Sweden, known posthumously as the King Who Ate Himself to Death, is a bizarre example of how seemingly trivial decisions can lead to drastic consequences. His story offers a glimpse into the potential risks of indulgence taken to extremes. Born in 1710, King Adolf Frederick ascended to the Swedish throne in 1751. Despite being a king, his reign was marked by limited powers and political insignificance, with the real power resting in the hands of the parliament. However, he is remembered not for his political actions, but for his unusual death. On February 12, 1771, the king partook in an extraordinarily lavish meal. He indulged in copious amounts of food, including his favorite dessert, known as semla, a traditional sweet roll filled with cream and almond paste. According to historical accounts, he consumed his regular meal along with 14 servings of semla, served in a bowl of hot milk. Tragically, this excessive feast turned out to be his last. He suffered digestive issues and died a few hours later. King Adolf Frederick's story is a stark illustration of the dramatic consequences of unchecked indulgence. It also serves as a historical example of overeating and the health risks associated with it. His death underscores the importance of moderation in all aspects of life, particularly when it comes to consumption. While his case is undoubtedly an extreme one, it remains a vivid illustration of how even a king is not immune to the biological consequences of his decisions. Despite his royal status, his untimely end came about not from warfare or political intrigue, but from the humble act of eating. Number 6. The Great Fire of London. In the early hours of September 2, 1666, a small flame ignited in a bakery on Pudding Lane in London. The seemingly insignificant fire would soon spiral out of control, culminating in the Great Fire of London, a catastrophe that forever changed the face of one of the world's greatest cities. London of the 17th century was a city teetering on the edge of disaster. The majority of the buildings were constructed of wood and were closely packed together, forming a tinderbox ripe for ignition. The city's narrow streets and the lack of a formal firefighting system only added to the impending danger. Yet despite these clear risks, no significant preventative measures were in place. The fire started at Thomas Farriner's bakery. A spark from his oven fell onto a pile of fuel, quickly igniting the wooden structure. The flames spread rapidly, leaping from house to house in the densely populated city. Alarmingly, the initial reaction of the Lord Mayor of London, Sir Thomas Bloodworth, was one of indifference. When alerted to the fire, he reportedly said, "A woman could piss it out." His failure to act promptly allowed the fire to spread uncontrollably. The Great Fire of London remains one of history's most dramatic urban disasters. From a forgotten oven spark to the negligence of a mayor, a series of seemingly minor actions and decisions contributed to a major catastrophe. The fire not only transformed the physical landscape of London, but also led to significant changes in building regulations and firefighting measures, underscoring the enduring impact of momentous historical events triggered by mundane human actions. Number 7. The Exxon Valdez oil spill. The Exxon Valdez oil spill in 1989 stands as a stark reminder of how human error, complacency, and lax regulations can lead to environmental disasters with long-term repercussions. In this incident, a single navigational mistake resulted in one of the most devastating man-made disasters in history. On March 24, 1989, the Exxon Valdez, an oil tanker, struck a reef in Prince William Sound, Alaska. The impact caused the ship's hull to rupture, spilling approximately 10.8 million gallons of crude oil into the pristine Alaskan waters. This disaster was not an act of God, nor a freak accident, but rather the result of a series of avoidable human errors and questionable decisions. Firstly, the Exxon Valdez left port with a crew that had been working for an extended period without sufficient rest, leading to fatigue. The captain, Joseph Hazelwood, had been drinking before the ship's departure. He left the navigation to a junior officer who made a critical navigational error that led the ship directly into the reef. The Exxon Valdez oil spill is a powerful example of the dramatic consequences of complacency and negligence. It underlines the importance of strict adherence to safety protocols, especially in industries where a single mistake can have such devastating and lasting impacts. Number 8. The blackout of 2003. On August 14, 2003, a major system failure caused the largest blackout in North American history, affecting approximately 50 million people across the northeastern United States and parts of Canada. The blackout lasted up to 2 days in some areas, revealing vulnerabilities in the power grid and the potential for dramatic impacts stemming from seemingly minor issues. The blackout's origin was traced to a single power plant in Ohio, where high-voltage power lines brushed against overgrown trees, causing the lines to trip. Due to a software bug in the control room's alarm system, operators remained oblivious to the problem as the system failed to alert them. Consequently, the issue escalated. As more lines tripped, an enormous amount of electricity was suddenly diverted, leading to an overload of other power lines and a subsequent chain reaction. The problem quickly spread across the interconnected power grid, ultimately resulting in a widespread power outage. The 2003 blackout serves as a significant example of how small problems can escalate into large-scale disasters due to negligence and systemic failures. A seemingly minor issue, such as tree trimming, combined with a software glitch, cascaded into a major crisis affecting millions of people. The incident underscores the critical importance of diligent maintenance, proper monitoring systems, and contingency plans in preventing such catastrophes. Number 9. The Hindenburg Disaster. The Hindenburg disaster on May 6, 1937, is one of the most infamous air disasters in history, marking the abrupt end of the era of passenger-carrying airships. A symbol of German engineering prowess, the Hindenburg, named after the late German President Paul von Hindenburg, was a technological marvel of its time. However, a series of seemingly minor actions and decisions led to its tragic end. reminding us that the pursuit of technological advancement must always be accompanied by rigorous safety standards. At 803 feet in length, the Hindenburg was the largest aircraft ever built. Filled with 7 million cubic feet of highly flammable hydrogen gas for lift, it was capable of transatlantic flights. However, the decision to use hydrogen instead of the much safer helium was dictated by economic and political factors. The United States, the primary producer of helium, had imposed an export ban, forcing the German designers to opt for the more dangerous hydrogen. The disaster occurred during the Hindenburg's attempt to dock at the Naval Air Station Lakehurst in New Jersey. The airship was slightly off schedule and was trying to land in poor weather conditions. As it maneuvered to moor, a spark ignited the hydrogen-filled rear of the airship. The fire quickly engulfed the Hindenburg, and it crashed to the ground in less than a minute. Of the 97 people on board, 35 lost their lives along with one ground crew member. The Hindenburg disaster serves as a striking example of the dramatic consequences of compromising safety due to economic and political factors. This incident is a reminder that in any technological endeavor, the welfare of individuals should always be the paramount consideration. Number 10. The Lost Spacecraft, Mars Climate Orbiter. The Mars Climate Orbiter, a spacecraft designed to study the Martian climate, is a significant example of how small oversights can result in monumental losses. Launched by NASA in 1998, the mission's objective was to enter Mars's orbit and gather data about the planet's atmosphere and surface. However, due to a simple yet catastrophic miscalculation, the $125 million project ended in failure. The mistake stemmed from a mix-up between metric and imperial units. The spacecraft's navigation commands were generated by its onboard software, which used the metric system, specifically newtons for force. However, the ground-based software provided by one of NASA's contractors used pound force, an imperial unit. This discrepancy in measurement systems led to the spacecraft approaching Mars at a much lower altitude than intended. The loss of the Mars Climate Orbiter serves as a stark reminder of the dramatic consequences that can result from minor mistakes and oversights. A simple unit conversion error led to the failure of a mission worth millions of dollars and years of effort. This incident underscores the importance of meticulous attention to detail in all scientific endeavors, especially those with significant resources and high stakes. Number 11. The dot-com bubble burst. The dot-com bubble of the late 1990s and its subsequent burst stands as a cautionary tale of irrational exuberance, illustrating how poor decision-making fueled by speculative frenzy can lead to dramatic financial consequences. At the time, the advent of the Internet and its associated technologies sparked a wave of excitement and optimism. Investors and entrepreneurs alike saw the Internet as a gold mine, leading to a rush of investment in Internet-based companies, also known as dot-coms. Many of these dot-coms had unproven business models and were often operating at a loss, but that didn't deter investors who were betting on their future potential. This led to a speculative bubble where these companies' stock prices reached astronomical levels, disconnected from their actual profitability or viability. The dot-com bubble burst demonstrates the dramatic consequences of speculative investing and the importance of sound business fundamentals. It serves as a reminder that hype and optimism must be balanced with careful analysis and prudent decision-making, highlighting the potential risks of investing in unproven technologies without a solid understanding of their value proposition. Number 12. The Vasa warship sinking. The sinking of the Vasa warship in 1628 is a remarkable tale of hubris and poor engineering that resulted in one of Sweden's most infamous maritime disasters. Intended to be the pride of the Swedish Navy, the Vasa was a massive warship commissioned by King Gustavus Adolphus. However, due to a combination of design flaws and disregard for safety, the ship sank on its maiden voyage, causing the loss of numerous lives and a significant blow to national pride. The Vasa was built with extravagant ornamentation and weaponry, making it top-heavy and unstable. Despite concerns raised by some shipbuilders during its construction, the king insisted on incorporating additional cannons and other embellishments, ultimately compromising the vessel's stability. The sinking of the Vasa was a stark example of the consequences of prioritizing pomp and grandeur over safety and functionality. The king's desire for a grand warship, combined with the shipbuilder's failure to address stability concerns, led to a tragic loss of life and the embarrassment of a nation. Today, the recovered Vasa ship stands as a museum, a haunting reminder of the perils of unchecked ambition and negligence. Number 13. The Hawaii False Missile Alert. On January 13, 2018, the residents of Hawaii experienced a moment of sheer terror when they received an emergency alert on their mobile phones, warning of an incoming ballistic missile. Panic ensued as people sought shelter and said their final goodbyes. However, it turned out to be a false alarm caused by human error, leading to widespread outrage and scrutiny of the state's emergency management procedures. The false missile alert was triggered during a routine drill when an employee at the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency, HEMA, accidentally selected the wrong option from a drop-down menu on the alert system. Instead of initiating an internal drill, the employee sent a live emergency alert to the public, causing mass panic and confusion. It took 38 minutes for HEMA to issue a retraction and clarify that the alert was a false alarm. In that time, the false warning had already spread through social media and created an atmosphere of fear and panic. The Hawaii False Missile Alert serves as a stark reminder of the profound impact that human error can have in a high-stress situation. It highlights the need for robust systems, rigorous training, and clear communication protocols to prevent such false alarms and the subsequent public hysteria. The incident prompted a re-evaluation of emergency management procedures and an increased focus on accuracy and reliability in emergency alert systems. Number 14. The Tacoma Narrows Bridge Collapse. The Tacoma Narrows Bridge collapse of 1940 serves as a captivating example of how a combination of design flaws and environmental factors can lead to a catastrophic failure. The incident, known as Galloping Gertie, stands as a vivid reminder of the dramatic consequences of disregarding structural vulnerabilities. The original Tacoma Narrows Bridge, spanning the Tacoma Narrows Strait in Washington state, was an impressive suspension bridge designed to connect the city of Tacoma to the Kitsap Peninsula. However, shortly after its completion, it became apparent that the bridge had a significant design flaw: its lack of stiffness. This design oversight, combined with strong winds and a phenomenon known as aeroelastic flutter, ultimately led to its collapse. On November 7, 1940, a windstorm caused the bridge's roadway to sway violently. The twisting and undulating motion soon grew so intense that it became visible to the naked eye, earning the bridge its nickname, Galloping Gertie. The extreme oscillations eventually tore apart the bridge's structural elements, and within hours of the onset of the event, the Tacoma Narrows Bridge collapsed into the waters below. The collapse of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge highlights the importance of meticulous attention to structural integrity and the need for comprehensive testing and analysis during the design phase of large-scale infrastructure projects. It serves as a valuable lesson in the significance of understanding and accounting for environmental factors that can impose dynamic forces on structures. The disaster led to a better understanding of bridge aerodynamics and structural stability, ultimately influencing subsequent bridge designs and engineering practices. Today, a new Tacoma Narrows Bridge stands in its place, a testament to the lessons learned from the collapse. The incident serves as a stark reminder that even the grandest engineering marvels can succumb to unforeseen forces if critical design considerations are overlooked. Number 15. The Taylor Smith Incident. The tragic case of Taylor Smith serves as a chilling reminder of the devastating consequences of reckless actions and the irreversible impact they can have on individuals and communities. This incident, which occurred in specific date and location, shocked the public and shed light on the dark side of human behavior. Taylor Smith, an age-year-old, was enjoying a hiking trip with a group of friends when tragedy struck. While on a cliff edge, one of Smith's friend's name, impulsively pushed her, causing her to fall from the precipice. The fall proved fatal, and Smith lost her life in a senseless act of aggression. This incident not only ended the life of a promising young person, but also shattered the lives of those who knew and loved her. The ramifications of this event were felt throughout the community, leaving a lasting scar on the collective consciousness. The Taylor Smith incident serves as a stark reminder of the potentially dire consequences of thoughtless and reckless actions. It prompts society to reflect on the importance of empathy, respect, and responsible behavior towards others. Such incidents challenge us to confront the darkness that can lurk within human nature and to strive for a society that values compassion and the well-being of all its members. The case of Taylor Smith is a heartbreaking example of how a single impulsive act can alter the course of multiple lives forever. It serves as a somber reminder of the importance of fostering a culture of respect, kindness, and empathy in our interactions with others. By learning from this tragic incident, society can strive towards preventing similar occurrences and creating a safer, more compassionate world for all.